Hi and welcome to my Playhouse, and today we're gonna have a look at a lot of awesome server equipment that I picked up in Copenhagen in a previous video. Probably some time ago. I'm pretty far ahead recording videos, but before that I have to give a thank you to William Kane, who donated on my PayPal account for my birthday. Thank you very much, William, for that donation. Also, I would like to remind everybody that I'm very active on Patreon, and if you become a Patreon subscriber, that helps the channel a lot. Do we need anything else? Yeah, you need to visit the links in the description. They will lead you to Amazon, and I'll be laughing all the way to the bank. It's not going very well on Amazon, so not as many of you are using the links in the description anymore. So the Amazon affiliate thing is not going as well as it could. So if you have a chance, just go down and see what I've linked. That would probably help. But the main thing in this video is the servers been donated by Jesper, and we're gonna have a look at those today. There is 6 servers and there is 3 storage shells. So let's go to the table and see what we have. Let's start with a fast overview. The 2 bottom servers here are 2 Lenovo X3550 Model 2s, and the top one is a Lenovo System X3550 Model 3. And all of these 3 servers are 1U servers. We're gonna have a look at the differences of those 2. They're not very big, the differences, but they are there. Then we have the 3 storage shells here. These I believe is the DS3000 series, and we're gonna have a look at that when we get around the back. Then over here we have 3 servers, and these are each the System X3650 Model 3s, and they should be alike, all of them. They're three twins, I don't know, but they are configured the same, all of them. So that's what we are gonna have a look at today. I have had a look inside, but we're gonna go and check what processors and what RAM and stuff is in these. So we might just start over here, shouldn't we? So as the Model 3 is on the top right now, we could just start with that one. And there is a weird system for opening them up. You press this and pull back. It's not a very good system. It tends to get really hard to open the server up. And as usual, there is a nice drawing on the back here that explains what different stuff is. So we're gonna put that away. In here we see that we have 1 processor, and let's see, we have 2 blocks of memory. So this is not a balanced solution. We have a plastic thingy here, airflow buffering, an airflow thing that directs the air in the right direction. We have 5 fans in here, and there is missing number 6. That's probably because the second CPU is not installed, so it doesn't need all 6 fans, just the first 5. Then we have a rate controller over here, and it actually has an extension on it. I wonder what this one is. And this is an advanced feature key for the M1000. The rate card down here is an M1015, and this little key enables RAID 5. So without it, this controller is not able to do RAID 5. With it, it opens up for that feature. So yeah, you pay for that. So that's what that was. The M3 has 18 blocks of memory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 2. So each processor has 9 slots for memory. Each processor has 3 memory channels. So for each channel there are 3 blocks. This enables this server to be able to handle a maximum of 288 gigabytes of memory. And that is if you put 16 gigabyte blocks in each of these sockets. Let's see the ones that are in here. Let's just take one of those out, and we have a winner. We have a 4 GB memory block, and it's 10600R. I believe this is 1333 megahertz of memory, the speed of it, so nice. So this server, it looks like it's a minimum configuration of a server here. So 1 CPU, 8 gigs of memory, RAID controller, although it has RAID 5, which is kind of odd because on the front of the server there is only 4 slots for hard drives. This model is available where there is another 4 slots here, but in this one they have chosen to put the CD-ROM drive or DVD drive here. You can get this where it's crammed over here instead, and that would it would be greater to have 8 bays there instead of this setup. There's a lot of wasted space right there. But what kind of a CPU do we have in this? Let's have a peek. We have a little one. Okay, this is the original IBM cooling compound. It's like a square, so I'll be cleaning that off and we'll have a look at the CPU. So this is an Intel Xeon E5500-06, and it's a quad-core 2.13 gigahertz, 4 megabytes of cache. This is one of the absolute smallest CPUs that's available in that series, so it's not a lot of power that we have here. Oh, well, it's a CPU, so it does not use a lot of power either. So okay, we'll put it back. Make sure that we don't get heating compound on the back of it. And this CPU does not get hot. I'm probably not going to be using this CPU for anything, so I'm more or less just putting on the cooling compound in the event that I turn on the server. I don't want it to die on me just because I forgot that I took it off. In the back of the server there is the media key, which enables remote management, so that's awesome that that is here, because that can actually be quite expensive. From new it was expensive, it's not very expensive anymore. There's 2 power supplies in this server, which is, that's a lot for a server that has only 1 CPU, so they must have been thinking about a redundant setup. And this is a, does it say how much? 675 watt power supply. That's definitely decent, I must say. So let's put this aside for just a little bit and see. Oh, that goes over here. And compare it to the Model 2, which I have just under it. Let's move that right over here. And it's clear to see that we open the server in exactly the same way. So press down there, and pull this away. I hurt my hand doing that. Oh, so here we have a server with 2 CPUs, very big RAID controller. This is an older model, so it just takes up more space. It's probably not more powerful. And the rest looks really similar. There is the 5 fans here. I do believe we have less memory blocks in here. Yes. We only have 8 blocks here for each processor. So that means that each processor still has 3 memory channels. So the first 2 memory channels, they have 3 blocks there. The last memory channel, it only has 2 blocks. Does that add up? Yes, that adds up. So cool. Let's check the memory and see what processor we have in here. And the front of these Lenovo X3550 Model 2s, we have room for 6 2.5-inch hard drives here, and we still have the DVD-ROM, and we have the pop-out light path diagnostics. We also have that over here. It's very similar, so they haven't changed much at all, so nice. We have the same USB ports, 2 USB ports. We have a VGA connection, same thing over here, 2 USB ports and a VGA connection. It really looks to be the same. Plastic here looks the same as the plastic over here. There's slight differences. The media key, the hypervisor can go in there. Same thing over here, also go in there. Okay, RAM and processor. I can see that this server came with 2 original memory blocks, and these are each 4 GB blocks, 10,600 Rs. Yes, 10,600 R is 1,333 MHz RAM. So let's put that one back, and we can count. There is 4 in each, 4 blocks to each processor. And this looks like an afterthought. So they have been upgraded with some other memory. Almost the same kind, but differently branded and different labels and stuff. Same memory, also 4 GB. So the server has a total of 32 GB of memory. This model is able to have a maximum of 256 GB of memory. I've never tested this, and most of the material available for this server says that it can handle 128 GB of memory, but I think it's because when this server was new, there was no such thing as a 16 GB block. So that could probably be something that I would have to test in a future video, if it will actually handle 256 GB of memory. So let's move on to the processor. Which one is easiest to take out? They should be 100% alike, otherwise the server would not run. And I can see a date on here that says 2008, 19th of November. And the server down here says that has been made the 24th of June 2009. So this server is 8 years old already. So let's just take this CPU out. This looks also to be original IBM cooling compound. You can kind of see, because they have some fine lines on the compound, and if they are still there, well, it's original. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to show that, but I have put in enough second CPUs to recognize that pattern in the cooling compound. And the CPU comes out exactly the same way as on the M3. Oh. Yeah. So it looks like this server has a couple of Intel Xeon E5504. So each of them are smaller than the ones in the M3, but together they will probably beat that one. This is a 2 GHz processor, and it has 4 MB of cache, and is from 2008. So also not very fast processors. They are kind of on the slow side. So we'll put those back in, and I'll give this some cooling compound and close that up again. Otherwise, these two servers are really alike. The remote management feature key is there on both of them. There's room for extra network cards here. Same thing over here. We have a half-height PCI Express port here. We have a full-length one here, or full height, not very long because there's a CPU in the way. Same thing over here, although this does not have the CPU. But well, these servers, they didn't make many changes. Even the fan blowers are very similar or exactly the same on both of them. Unfortunately, they don't look to be the same as the one that went in my M4 which is unfortunate because I paid a small fortune for that one. It would have been nice if I could have just gotten one from a M2 on it, or an M3. Underneath here we have some LEDs, same thing over here, LEDs. There was another RAID controller when this one was new. This is probably a 10BR or something. I'm not sure what this is called. Could go look that up, but yeah, probably doesn't matter. It's the predecessor for this one. So the 1015, and this one was the one that came before that one. So yeah, cool. Just noticed a funny thing. The plastic in the M3, I'm putting it back together. The plastic is black, where on the M2 it was white. So well, black was in that year, and that year was 2010. So the server is 7 years old, actually just a little bit more than 7 years old, and the other one was 8 years old. Similar age too. So here are the 3650 Model 3. That has room for 8 hard drives here. It can be extended with 8 more. That is rather expensive in specialized hardware to go inside the server, but let's see what we got inside. Okay, we can see 2 CPUs. We can see that this is stuck. Come out! There. We can see it has a lot of RAM. All the block says occupied. This has the same amount of RAM as the M3, so it's also able to handle 288 gigabytes, and you have to put in 16 gigabyte blocks to do that. Over here we have a RAID controller, and it's the M5015 or 14, I'm not sure about that, but it's there. So I have done multiple videos on this server, so I don't know if we need to do that. It comes with some fiber optic HBAs, so I would be able to connect to the SAN, that SAN, if I want to do that. So let's check the RAM and have a CPU out. So remove plastic. RAM. I see that this originally came with that block. I think that's in slot number 1. So let's see what that is. We have an 8 gigabyte memory block. Oh, awesome. There is one. Let's check some of the others. Next one. That's a 4 gigabyte. Next one again. That's another 4 gigabyte. I wonder how much memory there is in this server. I better put them in, otherwise I'll forget how they were configured. So 844. This is nothing. That's an 8 gigabyte block. I'll probably have to turn this server on to actually figure out how much memory is in it. I could of course take out all the memory and just add up, but I'm lazy. So let's see the CPUs. What can that be? Oh, original IBM compound, and not a very good coverage. It's as if it doesn't cover the whole thing. It's weird. Okay, and here we have the CPU, and this is an Intel Xeon E5620, and this is a quad core, and it's a 2.4 gigahertz. It has 12 megabytes of cache. Awesome. This scores, and in CPU benchmark it scores 4866, whereas the E5504 scored 2734, and the 5506 scored 2995. So this is by far the fastest CPUs that I have gotten, and there is 3 servers like this. So combined these servers scores about just under 10,000, which is, well, it's not bad. Let's put the CPU back and let's see, it goes that way. There. And we'll give this some new cooling compound. And put the heatsink back in. I have cleaned the heatsink. The build of the X3650 Model 3 is very similar to the X3550 Model 2 and 3. You have the same system board and you have the processors and the RAM more or less exactly the same place. Power connections. I do believe that the boards, the system boards, are exchangeable for between the two. For example, if we go down here and see the fan blowers, and we just remove one of the fan blowers, we will see that there is the same connections as on the other ones. You can see I just removed one fan and that fan just had one connection. So if we move over here and see the Model 3, we can see that the fans are smaller and closer together. So for each of those fans there are two fans. We could just go and check the last fan and see that the last fan is out of position here. If we see that, it's, well, we'll put this one back in. We can see this is further back. So let's take that out. No, these two are aligned. They are the same position. Over here, what do we have? Yeah, there. Yeah. Oh, that's because I'm looking at this wrong. There is one fan here, another fan here, and then there is two fans here. I think the system board is exactly the same. Two dip switches right there. Two dip switches right there. Probably these are interchangeable. Would have to call them a new name and stuff, but that's nice to know. If you have a really expensive server like this that dies, well, you have the option of also putting in a system board from one of these. I'm not 100% sure of this yet, but it very much seems so. This server also comes with the very nice media keys, so that you're able to do a remote control to it from the IMM adapter. Then there is two network cards, each of them with dual ports. So my best guess is that this server has been used as a hypervisor. Don't know if it could be VMware or SAN or Hyper-V, but probably one of those. Well, it could also be some Linux stuff. Have no idea. I don't think the rate controller, this big awesome one, rather good and expensive, I don't think that has been used very much because the fillers are still here. So my best guess is that this server has just been used with two hard drives, and that has just been for booting. So in the middle here we have some IBM storage shelves, and without any drives in it, it's really hard to see how this works. And I have to apologize, we're gonna bring in the Western Digital Green drive in an IBM thingy here. So how this works is you pop in a drive like this, and it will look like that when all the drives are there. I just happen to have a lot of these already. I did not get the drives with any of these servers because they had to be wiped and deleted and all that good stuff. But Jesper, who so generously donated all of this to me, he says that he's gonna be coming over and giving me the cradles here, or the, I don't know what we should call these, the piece of hard drive cage, hard disk cage, I don't know. So yeah, and there is like 36 of them, so it's not a small thing. So this is more or less a SAN. So let's go around the back and see the SAN. This is a DS3400, and this top one is the one with the controllers, and the two below is kind of extension boxes. But let's see that around the back. Okay, so this is around the back. Could just turn off all of them. There is no power on them, but well, now they're off, so they don't automatically turn on when I put them in somewhere. We can see that each of them, this is one unit, this is one unit, and that's one unit. Each of them has dual power supply, and there are this is some monster power supplies. I broke one of these plastic things. I was not able to figure out how that worked. So yeah, don't do that again, Martin. That was stupid. So this is one of the power supplies. It's huge, but it's only 530 watts. But I'm pretty sure that these are redundant power supplies. So 530 watts should very easily be able to power the whole thing. So power supply here, power supply there, LEDs that tells you how the power supply is doing. And on top of that, there is the controller. And let's just take this one out because I've made this really easy to take that one out. Which wasn't really a good idea. On top, there is nothing much. It says this is a 2009 model, was made the 13th of June. But if we turn it around, there is some interesting stuff right there. See, we have more or less, we have a little computer here, I think. We can kind of see that this is an LSI logic. So these boxes are something that IBM has purchased from LSI, or at least have had LSI produce for them. We have connections to the backplane here. We have a battery backup option up here, so it probably has some cache in there too. Then we have a board here. That's for the fiber optic connections. They are here. You might be able to get other fiber optic connections there. And I see that these are, I have no idea, maybe they're only 2 gigabits. 2 gigabits per second? I'll have to check that. That's not very fast. Down here we have some cache, 512 megabytes of cache. It's not often that you run into megabytes anymore, but we just did on the processors as well. So this is one of the 2 controllers that is in here, and it's very similar to what I saw in the Net app that I picked up in Sweden. So yeah, gonna put this back in. There, they definitely do not fall out. The system is that, let's go up here. We have a management board for this, and we have the fiber optic connections. These connections you can connect to a server. You can use 1 or you can use 2, and this is for redundancy. You can normally you run this up to some kind of a SAN switch. So, and the SAN switches also have to be redundant. So you would run one to one SAN switch and the other one to the other SAN switch. And in that way you would have a redundant solution on the switch side. Over here you would do the same thing with the redundant controller. You would run one to one SAN switch and one to the other SAN switch for redundancy. Then the next box down here, that is connected to through this drive expansion, which is a SAS connector. There is a 6 gigabit SAS connector that can go down here, and it has to be connected to this one. Then this one can be connected to this one, so you can kind of build a stack on this. So the top one is the controller, and these next ones are just, it's kind of a master-slave system. And I do actually have some of these connectors. We might just check that out. So here we have a SAS connector. It even have an IBM number and everything. So we would put this in the first slot up here. We would turn it the right way and pop that in. And then that would go down to this connector right there. And now these 2 boxes would be connected. Normally you would do the same thing over here, maybe cross connect, I have no idea. It's kind of a chain you're making. The controller will ask where the data is, and these boxes will reply if they are the one that has the data. We could just take out one of these controllers. remember to open this one. And we will soon see that, well, there is a lot less electronics on those. So they are more or less just a, what? They are kind of an expander card. So, cool. So this is really a SAN, where you get your SAN connection here. And this should be some of the smallest that IBM has available. Over here behind this cover, there's a host channel. And I'm pretty much guessing that this one I could connect directly to a server, and this system would be a lot dumber. So I could connect this to a server and just connect everything together, and they would just be disk shelves, all of them. That's my guess. I am pretty new at this, so if anyone knows differently, please leave that in the comments. Also, I'm very curious, the DS3400 series, how large can the disks be in this SAN? Does it do 3 terabytes, 4 terabytes, 6 terabytes, or whatever? Please help me out in the comments. Well, this was my video on this awesome server haul from Copenhagen. So thank you very much to Jesper for calling me up and saying that he had some equipment that I could come and pick up. I'm not sure yet what I'm gonna be using all of this for. I will probably have to sell out some of my older stuff to even make room for this. So, but thank you, that's not your problem. And I'm looking very much forward to getting all the disk thingies so that I can put in some drives in here. Even though I don't really believe that I have 36 drives that I'm not currently using. Not your problem. So, but thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again. And have a really nice day. Bye bye.